I know how smart all you guys are. I know that I know that it's easy to want to try and anticipate and jump ahead, particularly when you're trying to, in a class, right? You're trying to do well. I am going to encourage you not to do that, because almost every time you think you know what you're doing, it's actually not the right process for what we call the right brain. So as exciting as it is, and as much as, well, you know what, you can do it, because we also learn by making mistakes, but you'll see. So and here, I'm going to put up my desk just so you guys can see my setup here. I like this. We did this with painting. All right, here. So I'm here. So here's my desk. Here's my little iPad-y notepad thing. So you'll notice I have these right next to each other, and I've got this ruler. You can see this happening in two places, and you can use centimeters or inches. It doesn't really matter. I am going to start with my paper. Is there anybody who doesn't have, speak now if you don't have a ruler? Is there anybody who doesn't have a ruler?
I don't have a ruler, but I have a measuring tape.
Measuring tape will work. That'll work. Okay, so go ahead and take your measuring tape, and then you're going to take your, here, you're gonna take your ruler, and either with centimeters or inches, you're gonna find the halfway point of this piece of paper. Here, I'll get this out of the way. It is, in my case, I'm not gonna show it it's 5.5 inches. I don't know what it is in centimeters. No, and centimeters, it would be 14. And I'm marking, oh, this is hard to see here. I'm gonna remove this spotlight.
Can you just say either the dimensions in inches or centimeters again? Because I have the European size. I think.
Yeah, you're gonna need to cut it down. If you want to have success, like I tried to do it with the two sizes, it just doesn't work. 28 is the long side and 21.5 is the short side.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so you are going to find the halfway point of each side of this paper, and you're going to mark it on the sides. So you can see I'm finding the halfway point up here, and I'm marking it, and I'm marking it there. So that when I line up my ruler, I can draw a straight line that's kind of bisecting the middle of the paper. And you're going to do the same thing on this side. So 8.5. So if you're using inches, it's 4.25. Centimeters, it's like half of 21.5. I can't do that in my head. You're free to use a calculator. So you can see, you can kind of barely see the edge here. And then once again, I'm going to line up the ruler here so that I get these right. So I can bisect this. Now this is exactly the same as if I went, two of these, as if I went fold and fold. Drawing those two lines of measuring, right? Like this is 1/4 of the size. So this is like dividing into 4 equal sections. And then you're going to do the same thing with each half. So this half, 5.5 is 2.75. Yeah, that's right. Half of 5.5 is 2.75. Half of 28 is 14, and half of 14 is 7. That's a really easy thing to do in centimeters. So you can see I'm doing this. It's taking a little while. The closest thing I found to inches on this is basically 2.2. Notice I'm being very careful to line up my ruler at the edge each time. It's funny, the things that how easy it is to get this wrong, particularly if you're like, I don't know, nervous or, I don't know. I don't know about you guys, I always get nervous when I take a class, and I tend not to do that well. I'm always learning a lot in the class, but I feel like I'm sort of like one of those stressed out overachievers. So I tend to fail a lot as I'm pushing through right in the class. The pressure of it is tough for me. But then later I go back and it's awesome. Anyway, my point is failure is not a bad thing here. In this class, failure is considered failing is part of the process. It's because we're learning something new. And it's so different. And then of course I'm lining up all these like this. So your paper should have 16 equal rectangles. And then I'm going to quickly do the same thing down here. So you guys finish yours. I'm going to do mine here with the marker. So this is really awesome for beginning drawers who aren't like really sure where things are on the paper. One of the things this exercise is designed to prove to you is how off we are when we're evaluating where something is. Right? Where we think it is in terms of where it really is. Compared to where it really is on the papers. So this lesson, I might do this in red so we can really, well, we'll see. I'm going to sketch these out in black marker. If it's not really clear, I'll switch to another color. And even though this is a little bit on the tedious side, I don't use grids very much anymore, but when I do, I really like the process. I feel like it moves me, it kind of moves me into a more, how do you say it? Like a more sort of meditative, quiet, focused perspective. I might be coming into class. I'm a little bit tired this morning. Race has obviously got the Golden Globes to think about, right? Everybody has their assignments they're working on. There's a lot going on. Saturdays often don't mean breaks. So,
what happens the weekend in Michigan?
Right? Tell me about it. So I like this process because it kind of slows me down. It's like almost like a deep breathing technique. It sort of moves me into the space and it kind of forces me to be a little bit precise, but I've got a tool that I know that will help me. So I'm not like worried about it so much. Well, I want to see how well you guys see this. So the grid can be really helpful, but I don't want us to just kind of remain there. Oh yeah, I think you guys will be able to see this pretty well. And just so that you can really see it, I'm going to take a picture of these cute little buddies with the grids. Moving to animals has been so great. It's just been so great. You kind of forget how great animals are until you like get to spend some time drawing them. I'm doing the best I can. All right. So our first lines, which I will do in red that you're going to be drawing. And Sandra, thanks for this.
Hey, sorry about the watermark.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. It's so dang cute. We're just going to do it. We're doing it. We are so doing it. I couldn't not do it. I just couldn't resist. Okay. So you'll notice it's a little bit tricky to see these. I'm going to sketch. The first lines we're going to sketch are going to be these envelope lines. They're the bigger shapes. Hold on. You'll be able to see it really well when I send it on the thread. That is.
I think we're getting feedback from somebody.
Yeah, can you guys mute? Yes, thank you. Unless you want to say something. There we go. Yep. Yep. So I like to call these classes the anti-Zoom Zoom classes, because Zoom, as we're all finding out, can be really exhausting, right? As you're staring at somebody directly in the face. But most of the time you're going to be sort of back and forth with Zoom, but mostly you're going to be looking at your hard paper. So I want you to really think about this as a break from Zoom. And I want you to notice that our first lines are not these cute little animals, their eyes, their noses, their face. This is what a beginner wants to do. A beginner wants to come right in here and start drawing here. But a pro knows, the pro tips know that like we have to get the outer shapes in before we get in the inner shapes. So I can use this grid, and actually, you know what, I'm going to switch this because I am right-handed and it's going to be easier for me. So you can use your WhatsApp picture. You can look up here. I'm going to try and get both of these in here so you can see them. So I'm going to use my thread here. And actually, believe it or not, I'm actually locating where these lines intersect. Maybe out here a little bit. Almost like connect the dots. Yep. So this line kind of comes like this. And this line goes up to, also notice that you're going to have to kind of adjust for the white edge. We're going all the way to the white edge. So if you can't see anything there, you may have to like adjust up or down for it. You can see how I did that here. So here's the edge of the paper. This is the edge of the paper. So this is where we're drawing up. So that means up about here. I'm getting red pastel. And notice I'm not trying to sketch the whole thing at the same time. I'm trying to kind of square by square. Draw that line. Oh, I see. You couldn't see
Could you
that.
move your camera? Yeah.
Yep,
thank
yep,
you.
yep. It's hard to see. You know, I have to give up one side. So just so that you know, there we are. So that's it. So I'm not doing, I did this like almost rectangle by rectangle. Well, you guys are doing that. I'm locating where this other red line that comes up here. Okay, so I'm gonna sketch out. Can you see that? Yep. Here, hold on. There we go. Here, sorry, let me do this. I'll take a picture of it so you can see it. There we are. That's step one. Now I have to scoot this a little this way so you can see what I'm looking at, which is here. Notice this bulges out a little bit. Oh my God, these little guys are so dang cute. I love them.
So you mark it with the circles, right? Or the points?
Yeah.
And then, okay.
I'm finding where the points intersect with the grid.
Ah, got it. Okay.
Got it. See? Isn't that amazing? And inside, it really helps you get things in the right places.
Now it's making sense. Okay.
Yeah.
It.
And what you'll find is that your things are not where you think they should be. That's what you're going to find. And I, by the way, only did about this much. I haven't drawn this part of the line yet. I'm going to do that next. Because once again, I got to submit it this way a little bit. So I'm looking here. I can see that this is here. Yeah. So if anybody tells you connect the dots is not something you can do in art, you can be like, you can do connect the dots in art. You can totally do connect the dots in art. Oops. Notice I'm doing a lot of erasing. That's totally cool. Notice that I'm sometimes dividing a line into a curved line into two straight lines that intersect. Helps me draw it better. So these are our first. Yeah, I just can't get everybody, I can't get everything in. When we start working this area, it'll be easier. Oh yeah, and then there's this one. So this comes in about here. This may seem like a more artificial circle to you. But actually, this little circle is a nice, or actually it's not a circle, it's just a straight line. It goes from here, up, over, and round. So this is the beginning drawing. I'm going to take a picture of it with the whole thing, both the source and so you can see where you're supposed to go. So what I'd like you guys to do is get to this place. Ugh. Mm-hmm. I'm going to move this down a little bit. Give me 1 second. You have it on your WhatsApp thread. So if you need to look at it here, but I want you to have this picture so you can kind of see the basics. Whoops, what do you mean photo capture failed? Here we go. Let's try this again. There we go. So that's really what you should have. And nobody really wants to start a drawing this way. That's like why people don't do it. It doesn't feel right. It feels like it's not satisfying, right? It's awkward. It's kind of ugly. It's sort of dorky. But I will bring up the example that I bring up often in painting and drawing. And that is that if you are a carpenter and you're building a table with beautifully ornate carved legs, you don't start by carving a leg. You start by chopping 4 blocks of wood that are going to be equal sizes, right, for the table. If you don't get that right, you're not going to get the rest of your table right. And then you chop another block of wood that goes on top of the table, so the tabletop. So you get the basics kind of set up correctly before you start adding any detail. But our instincts are going to tell us, I should say our left brain instincts are going to tell us to go right into these cute little faces and start drawing them, right? But if you do that, it's a recipe for disaster. That's my only point. So we have to learn to kind of live with this as we learn to construct a drawing appropriately using visual right brain techniques. Yes, Jessica's working on very tedious things. That's beautiful. Yeah. Yes, Jessica's a ringer. She likes to work outside and she likes company, so we're a good fit for her. So I know that if I want to sketch something, I need to kind of find the outer edges first. And after a while, that will start to feel more natural. While you guys are doing this, I'm going to sketch in the next lines, which, if you notice, oh, little buddy, I love you. I love these guys. Sandra, these are just, they are the best. They're really,
they're very smart, you know. Very
these are these just baby raccoons?
Yes.
They are so smart. So you'll notice that my next step, I'll take a picture of this so you can really see it. Light's not so great today. I'm going to focus this really on the drawing. I'll also send this across. I wonder if I moved it down a little bit, if it would be easier to see. There we go. It's a kind of constant struggle. Every time the light is different in my studio, it makes it impossible to get things accurate. Here, let's have you do, there we go, there we go. I'm going to take a picture of this so you can really see it. Our next shapes are within these, this shape, this envelope. I like to think of this as an envelope. It's like an envelope that 2 little baby raccoons could fit in. It's a special envelope just for them, right? So you'll see that these next shapes that we're doing, I'm not even distinguishing between the two. The two are considered one super subject because they intersect, right? They come together. So we need to get this outer shape of the 2 of them before we try to draw each one separately. What happens is when you try to draw things separately, you find that like you actually create spaces artificially where there aren't any, right? You start thinking about them separately. So to sort of, I like to think about drawing also, I use all these technical terms, but it's really true. If you're like a wrencher, if you fix car engines, this is a skill that you use. You are putting things apart and putting them back together, right? In different ways. So this is finding this bigger uber shape is going to help us when we start to get to the division of the smaller shapes. So let's start that. Here, I'll put that here. We should be able to fit a little bit better because I can scoot in here. Notice that I'm not doing any of my inside lines. Actually, I'm noticing as I sketch this, that this needs to come in a little bit more. No, maybe it doesn't. I am not drawing the inside of the ear here. I'm really literally, I'm paying attention. What is this space, you guys? I'm paying attention to this shape. And what
That's
is
the
this?
negative space.
Yeah, I'm paying attention to the negative space at this point more than I'm paying attention to, and the negative space is the space that's between the subjects. And the negative space is as important, I've got to bring this down a little bit, as the actual subject itself. But we like to forget that. That's, like I said, why we sort of add these artificial spaces that are there when they really aren't. Because your brain is telling you, yes, these are 2 baby raccoons, but you're not really thinking about this dark space here. Even though this dark space is kind of crucial, he kind of busts out a little bit of the envelope here. So you see how I'm using the envelope, I'm looking at this space. So this doesn't really look like full-fledged ears, but it's all I really need to sketch right now because the ears kind of come in a little bit more to the body, inside the body. And if you're like, oh, this is kind of stressful, it's okay. It's supposed to be. It's hard to evaluate where things really are. However, it's much harder without the grid. So. And you can see, I am really looking at this shape. We're doing the outlines of the feet, but we're not doing any of the inner lines of the feet. In this particular case, I'm using my grid lines to help me learn. So immediately, this might feel stressful at the beginning, but immediately what you're going to learn is, oh my God, it's so much easier to do it this way because now I know where things are. So now we're getting a little bit of a hint of what's here. We're also not at this point focusing on, we're doing what's called a block in, right? So we're focusing not on the details. This is really just a perfect subject, Sandra. It's just perfect. Great lights, great darks. I like it that we've got 2 subjects together. I like that we've got them in a tree. So those who are really feeling excited and energetic can continue on with the outlines. It's really great.
Yeah, I turned mine upside down. Thanks for the tip.
Oh yeah, should we do that? Let's all do that. Yeah, let's draw upside down for a while. Don't panic, don't panic. We're turning upside down. Thanks, Tajreen, I always forget. This is a great way to get your drawings more accurate. You don't have to yourself go upside down, but, oops, oh well, ripped off a little bit here. Hold on, I need a little bit more tape. But if you move your drawing upside down, you'll notice it is way easier to see shapes correctly. That's because you stop being clear about what it is you're drawing. So like this shape, for example, I think becomes way more clear. This shape is an important shape, right? It's the dark around the edge of the animals. That's an important shape, as you'll see later on. Let's see how well I did. I could do a little correcting here. This leg kind of comes up a little bit more. What's also really great about this kind of sketching is that I'm not getting everything right on the first go, but it becomes way easier to correct. So this is a real hint about the importance of failure in the drawing process. There is no artist expects, even one who's been working for a long, long time, expects to be able to get all these things right on the first go. But we want a system where if we can go in and correct things, and if you start with the face and you work outwards, like you're going to make things too big. You're probably noticing things are bigger or smaller than you think they are, right? You're not paying attention to the negative spaces, so you're losing those. You're thinking every time you think this is a foot, right? Instead of, oh, light, dark shapes, right? It becomes harder. So if you start focusing on those details too soon, your proportions are going to be off and it'll be much harder to fix. But this, even as we go along with our drawing, it's a super easy fix. Oh my God. I love you. Mwah, mwah. I love you. You guys are so cute. Even upside down, they're cute. So yeah, I'm going to draw the next lines and then I'll take a picture of it so you can see them because they are just really
I can't see what I'm doing.
stinking cute. I'm going to get you the shapes, the basic shapes. Notice that I am outlining the lights, mediums, and darks, the major light, mediums, and dark shapes. Notice I'm not even going to the eyes yet. So as you get this set of shapes, we'll stop, and after we get these set of shapes in, we'll stop and talk about value for a second in drawing. Yeah, I really get a kick out of these, the breaking something down this way. So here, I'm going to take a picture of it so you guys can see it upside down so you can use it. Here, hold on. There we are. Rasha, you'll need to be able to, you can draw upside down.
Well, I just turned it upside down because I'm like, this ain't gonna work like this. So I need
Yeah, turn it upside down. It's easier.
I can follow you.
It's easier. Yep, you'll love it. Believe me. It's funny. I used to teach a kids class, and the first time I had them draw it upside down, they were all just like, no. No. You know how kids are like, oh no, oh hell no, I'm not doing that. And then when they realized how easy it was, how much easier it was, they're like, when are you going to turn it upside down? Like when? So the reason you say no, right? There's this kind of rejection at the beginning is that your brain is like, if I don't know what I'm drawing, and this actually connects to something we talked about yesterday in class, in painting class, which is, if you know what something is it harder or easier to draw? And I would still argue that 90% of the time, 95% of the time, if you know what something is, it's harder to draw. because you have ideas about it and you're laying them down on top of the thing. So sometimes when you turn something upside down, it becomes easier. It's just hard to see the colors today. There we go. Why? I'm going to move this down a little bit and see if we can get better color variation. That's a little bit. Anyway, you guys have it in your WhatsApp thread, so you can pull up the picture. I'll have it up here. That's kind of amazing to me. Actually, while you're doing this, so while you're getting in your next layers, and I will eventually jump in and join you. And by the way, you can send in a picture anytime. I'll take a look at it. Okay. So Osiris, I would say this needs to extend out a little bit farther. So your shape looks like this. I'll sketch it in. This is your, come here, you. Dang it. There we are. Your shape looks like, if I'm looking at this upside down now, your shape looks like this. See that? And it should come out a little bit farther. And this, yours kind of goes straight like that. If you can sketch it out a little bit farther, that will help. Other than that, it looks great. And this can come a little bit more angled. So you see, these are very specific. Let's see. I'm going to look at it upside down. This looks good. That looks good. This. It looks good, Tashween. You're in good shape. Now, if you notice that you probably feel that it is not right, notice that your feeling is, So Tashween, just be careful that you don't make this too small, this ear too small when you sketch it out. I want you to notice how big it is. You're good at the moment, but if you could like cut it in too much and really look at how big it is. This one looks good. This looks good. 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 Look at how awkward it is. Doesn't it just look awkward right now? So here's what I want you to notice. When you're right on, let's see, Mira. You're actually usually wrong. Okay, Mira. So for example, this edge of the face comes right up to this line.
Okay.
Did you see you put it in like this?
Okay.
You did that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. This is popping up out. It does not pop out.
Okay.
Well, actually, this is okay. Actually, these are all right. These are all
Okay.
right. These are good. This is good. This is good.
Okay.
I'm not really sure about I think these are right. Yeah, this looks pretty good. You jumped into this a little fast before getting in some of these other, but it's okay. It looks okay.
Okay.
Notice how this dark is really one big shape. It doesn't go like that.
Okay.
Right? Even though we know that the face, it looks like a dark shape. So just don't rush through, I guess.
Okay.
Is what I'm saying. When you rush, you tend to move things around a little bit, but it's good.
Okay.
Just keep on going. Let's see, Jane, I'm going to take a look at yours. Guys, if you take a picture of this from an angle, I can't see it. You've got to put your camera right on top and do so Jane, can you retake your photo? I can't evaluate it. Nina, let's see. This is good. Nina, this line, so you made your, I want you to watch this. You made this line here, you made like this. Can you see the problem there? You need to arch this out more like, you need to redraw this outer shape before you get your inner shape right. So really look at this. So it's not pointed like a diamond, it's rounded. Also, you're missing your guys down here, but this looks good otherwise. So see, this will reshape your shape of your This one is the real wrong shape. This is the one that's just like gonna mess you up because it's not accurate. Not that. You need to do this. Everything else looks good. Easier for me. Okay, Jane, now I can't see the whole drawing. Wait,
Yeah.
can I? Oh, I can sort of see. You know, I can't see the whole paper. I know, I'm sorry. You need to get the whole paper in and stand over it. There we go. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. And this is like a recorder. This is like a video. Okay, but I think I can look at this. Okay, that's in pretty good shape. Good, good.
Try that one.
There we go. I got it. I got it. Good, 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 good. Yep, yep. You're in good shape. Good shape.
Excellent. Thanks.
Does it feel like you're in good shape? No. Right?
I'm
So
used to the
here's
feeling good, feeling bad phase though, so I'm okay.
right, right. So here's what I want you to get. This is what I mean by our instincts are just so off. What we think is right, you're gonna fight all the time. Fight yourself all the time on this one. Okay, let me catch up with you guys. I need to catch up so I can get you to the next phase. Although, of course, I'm always happy to, let's see, get here. Where's the easiest place? Sometimes it's also tricky to see where's the easiest place to kind of interact. And I argue it's where you can really see where the shapes fit into other shapes. Aw, cutie, cutie. This shape is a little tricky on this side because, oh, and actually, of course, really, I should be getting this guy in. So oh yeah, so look what I did. I made this too big. Do you see how I did that? And I know that because when I try to add in my side here, so maybe the side of the face. So, hey, I'm the teacher and I did it. So you're bound to do it. Yep. So this has to come, I have to get that face. I've got to get that division between the two of them first before I can get anything else. Now, because I need this dark space, now I can put this in the correct place. Wow, I was totally off. Still off. Here. There we go. Here's where that's supposed to be, that white triangle. So I'm always asking myself, and that this means, I think this needs to come in just a little bit. I'm really paying attention to this shape here, this dark shape, that's helping me see. Also, I'm looking at this from an angle that's not helping. There we go. I make a point, as I tell people, of not practicing these. I always pick new sources so that you can see that mistake making is a part of the process. It's like, oh, did I get that in the right place? Nope. Here, this comes up here. Yep, there we go. So I'm doing a lot of mistake making. Don't worry about things like the whiskers. We're going to add those in last. I can see that the shape of my ear. Be careful not to fall back on the traditional shapes of things, of ears, right? These ears are not exactly pointy. They're kind of rounded on the top. Pay attention to that. Those details are important. Remember how they say it's in the details, right? Those details are important. I can see that this dark shape here, the sort of dark part of the ear, stays inside. It's underneath this grid line here. Kind of comes right up to the edge. It doesn't come over. So then that helps me shape my ear. See how I'm kind of shaping and reshaping? And what I'm focusing on are these light dark shapes. We'll talk about that. Notice down here that the ear kind of comes into the body a bit more than you think it should. So this little part of the head raises up higher. Oh, little bubbies. This is an easy thing to evaluate because it comes right up to the grid here. So I can come here and see how well I do with this one. We'll see. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. Need to bring it down a little bit more. I am kind of racing through this because I'd really like to spend some time looking at your drawings. So I'm just trying to catch up with you guys so that when we go into the next step. So don't feel like you have to go this fast. That is not. Oh no, so I can see. So see, once again, I'm like, oh, interesting. So the eye on this side really is a little bit bigger and comes right up to the edge of this grid line. I had it up too high. Oh yeah, that means this one was way too high. This side of the face kind of runs off. It doesn't, you can't really see the edge so clearly. So don't worry about that right now. We're not going to also worry about the hands and feet. We're going to really focus on the face. Did I get everything? A little bit. I think so. Let me look at it. This needs to come down. So this is too high. I need to bring this down a bit. Where does this line up with? This lines up with the ears. Oh yeah. So I put his eyes up too high. This little guy that I'm working on right now. So now I'm bringing him down. Oh yeah, that's better. I turn that around. Now I've got something that starts to look like our little raccoons. So I'm going to take a picture of this upside down and probably right side up so you can measure it. But you guys just keep sending me stuff. Let me look. Olga, can you take a picture of it upside down?
Yeah, sure.
Since I'm looking at the source upside down right now.
Of course.
I want to say yes, it's looking pretty good, but I want to give you some pretty detailed feedback. So thank you.
Yeah, I just said.
It's just quicker. So This looks pretty good. Good. So you're missing this shape here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really a whole dark shape. Do you see this whole shape like that?
Yeah.
You're missing that. Go ahead and add that in. It helps me to see. Did you get the proportions right here? Wait, it's easier to see with the yellow, I think. See that? That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Get that shape in. Otherwise, I think, and also your nose is way too pointed here. It's much wider and the angle comes out more.
More rounded. Okay.
You're like this. You went like, this is what yours looks like. See that?
Mhm.
Look at how much more rounded it is. It's more like this. And this nose is really big. And pay attention because there is a light area between this little masky part, right? You want to make sure you get all the lights in here correctly. Other than that, it looks pretty. This ear needs to be bigger.
Mm-hmm.
These ears are good. Other than that, you're in good shape.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. So Mira, I'm going to challenge you not to do the eyes in the, we're not there yet.
Okay.
So you don't, and the fingers,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to have you erase those because I want you to be working more in the bigger lights and darks.
Okay.
You'll see that you've done some things with the eyes that are not actually happening. So work on these shapes that I've outlined. Don't do the little eyes. Don't add like the things for the eyes. Just do the outer shapes.
Okay.
Other than that, it's in pretty good shape. You look like you're coming along. Yeah, let's see. So Tajween, this comes out more. You have this happening. Really, it comes out more like that, which means you've probably got to bring your little face out a little bit more like that too.
Yeah, I can't see that part of the,
Oh, sorry.
no worries at all, but
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Hell.
there you go.
It's annoying. Okay, so this is what's happening. This is what you have going on. The face is a little bit crunched. It needs to come out more like that. See that? So here, let me see if I can sketch it again. It's a different color. You're doing this is what's happening on this side. Really, it needs to cut, that little bandit mask needs to come out like that.
Okay.
And then that changes the shape of this. Do you see everything is a little bit longer?
Mm-hmm.
So this shape looks pretty good. These nose needs to be bigger.
Okay.
But things look like they're in pretty much the right. Wait a minute, what's happening here? So there's a little bandit mask that you're missing here. Return to the original photograph. Listen, I'm drawing all over this thing. You can't see all the shapes. There's a little bit of the bandit mask. So this is more of a connected shape. And right now you have it like this.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing this. See that?
Mm-hmm.
But really it's more like this. Coming out like that. It's like he has a little bandit mask on him. Good. But pretty good. I know you want to draw the feet. I know you want to draw the eyes. Don't until you get all these bigger light and dark shapes in. I can tell that wait, where's my other guy here? Yeah. I have a new one because I knew I would draw all over this one so that we can see things more clearly. You have this on your WhatsApp thread, so return to it if like too much stuff is covered up. So let's return to this concept of the tediousness of drawing. Drawing is kind of tedious because you got to make sure your bigger shapes are all in the right places before we get to the smaller ones.
Can you move it a little on the gridded one that you drew so I could see the edges, the second guy?
That one? Oh, you mean the one I drew? Yeah. Why don't I just take a picture and send it across? I can't get these both up here.
Thanks.
Let me do that. Yes. Here is my little guy. And I'm not, when I'm saying, oh, go away here. When I say tedious, I'm not saying bad. When I say boring, I'm not saying bad. What I'm saying is there's all these things, like just like anything else, there's a process to drawing. Oops, come here, you. Dang it. Here, hold on. I'm going to send it upside down so you can really see it. So there's the upside down version. Here is the right side up version. Oh. Here is right side up. There you go. So you guys got it. I can show. Mm-hmm. Looking at yours, Osiris. So Osiris, I think we've lost the, well, let's see. I think you've lost the shape on this side. So your ear is coming up here on this side like this. The biggest thing you've got going on is this is happening. And really the ear is down here. The second ear is down here, straight across like that. Don't worry about it. Do whatever works for you. Yeah, don't worry. Just do what you can. I'm going fast. I'm going really fast. For those of you who have your shapes, we're going to spend just a second to talk about value. So I'm going to actually, let's stop for a second. I'm going to talk about value so we can get those who are ready to go forward, going forward, everybody else. Let's put up a new one so that we can see it. So notice that everything in drawing comes down to value, right? The lightness or darkness of any color. So over here on the side, if one, I know some of you have heard this, all right, but right, for those of you who haven't, if 1 is light and 5 is super dark, 2, 3, and 4 are shades that get varyingly darker, right? This is sort of a little bit darker. This is a little bit darker than that. This is darker than this, but not as dark as this, right? There are usually at least 5 values in any drawing. So I'm going to label the value shapes here. And I also want you to notice that something interesting is happening. Can anybody who of the experienced ones among you, or even the amateurs, the ones who are new at this, what direction is the light coming from?
On the right.
Yes, how can you tell?
Because it's lighter than the left.
Right. So even the darker side on the right is lighter than the darker side on the left. Can you see that? Right? Cool. So our desire is to want to make everything symmetrical, but really it's better to think about the shapes as like values. So let's see, what's the best way to label this? Is this working? Let me try so I think the 5s and the 1s are pretty easy to see, right? Like that's a 5. I'll take a picture of this so you can see this. This is like a 4. The eyes are 5s with little 1s in them. This is 5. But I always like to look for the 5s, right? Here is a big 5. Here is a big 5. 5 down here. Part of the nose is 5, the part on the right. Part of the nose is 4s and sometimes even 2s. Same here. This is a 4. This is the 5. There's 5. So the first thing I always like to do is get my 5s in, because if I get my 5s in, oh wait, 5s in the 4s. This is a 4, right? This is a 4. I'm going to take a picture of this so you can see it. So you see how as we're dissecting this, here, I'm going to take a picture down here so you can see it really well. There you go. So there's your little guide for getting your 5s in, your 5s and your 4s in. So I like to start with the 5s and the 4s and not really down here, because this is really, let's focus on the face area and maybe around the face. Would you guys like to work upside down or right side up?
Upside down is fine, if that works for everybody else.
I think it does.
Yeah.
Good. So I'm going to push this upside down. I want you to be able to see it. So this is, wait here, hold on. I'm centering this here. Here we go. So we don't have the grid lines anymore. If you want, I can quickly draw them in. I'm not sure how much you need them. I think what we more need are these lights and these darks. And so I'm going in. So once again, I'm still not really thinking about eyes, ears, blah. I'm really thinking about shapes, about lights and darks. And I'm looking at each shape and seeing, oh yeah, even within the shape, there's some variation. Like the nose here is really dark on this side and less dark, kind of goes dark in. I wonder if I can get this just a little. Yep. I often like to go with the biggest shapes first. So let's see, this is a 5. The 5 kind of stops at the nose. The 5 also, this 5, I don't know if you guys can see it. This 5 is coming down into here. We'll go back in later with our eraser to pull out the light whiskers. But for now, let's lay this down as dark. And then I want this, it's kind of dark right here. It's a 5 right here, if you look close, but it's a 4 everywhere else. So I want it to be dark. Same up here. However, the best shaping of all is going to happen here. So I get a lot of questions like, how do you do fur? How do you do eyes? And my statement to you always, now look at what I'm doing here. I'm actually kind of creating a slightly ragged edge here because I can see it. So while I'm not drawing every bit of fur, I am paying attention to where the dark edge meets the light edge. And I'm adding a little bit of what's happening here in. Anyway, I get a lot of like, how do I draw eyes? How do I draw fur? How do I draw skin? Blah, blah, blah. And my point is always go back to the values. It starts with really having a strong sense of values, and the value shifts. It's not about eyes, fur, and skin. It's about seeing the dark and light shapes. I'm actually kind of coming up all the way around here. I'm actually finding that getting these 5s is going to help me shape out my little guys. Notice also that we're almost always going from the biggest shapes from outside to in. I mean, sometimes we're starting inside before we go outside, but I see actually this dark shape that I'm doing right. Oops, you can't really see it. This dark shape that I'm doing right now, there's a little, it helped me reshape my ear down here. So I get my 5s and then because my 5s are in, and maybe some of my 4s, my 1s are kind of clear. Then I can go into the 2s and 3s, the midtones. Notice that it's a little bit, and I haven't actually finished this here. Hold on, let me do that really fast. So it's darker here. I know there's a little bit of light in the eyes, but I can go back in and add that later. This dark goes all the way down here like that. And then it's like a 4 here. So see how I can see the difference? And it's kind of a 4 here. And then a 5 mostly in the eyes. See that? So if I get my 4s, let me get that really clear. I get my 4s and my 5s in, then my 1s become apparent. And then I can start seeing things like what's happening here, which is a 3. If I make that, I can come back in here and make this darker. So see how there's like this little 3 edge where the light fur of this ear meets this background. So here is where you get to start adding in what we call the midtones, which are 2, 3, and 4. Well, 2 and 3, maybe 3.5. 4s and 5s are really the darks. You'll also find you need to do less work. If you really focus on this model of thinking, there's less that you have to do to make something that looks like a raccoon. This is, so while this is a 5, here is kind of a 4. And it's quite dark here around this base, so I can see the white of this area. So you just start working edges. Kind of interesting, isn't it? What you can see here is that there's some like 2s and 1s kind of between. So I've got like a 2 here.
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Could you just explain to me really quickly on how are you doing the 2? I'm just trying to understand like how much to press down on the pencil, or because the 5s
Well,
are
I'm very light. I'm kind of so that's a great question. So I'm kind of leaning my hand like, let's see, like this.
okay.
And I'm notice how I'm gripping it from the back. And I'm kind of lightly windshield wipering it over.
Okay, great.
That's a technique. You can do it close up too, but it's just a lighter. You don't press very hard. You
Got
don't
it.
press very hard to find that too. You press a lot less hard. And notice when I'm going in here, I'm really pushing. And I'm going back over it a couple of times. The more I go over it, the darker it gets. Good question. Yeah, you need to now learn what your tool can do for you, right?
Yes.
And that is an interesting, so this is like a 4, but definitely it's like a 2 here. I know that because this little white muzzle really stands out. Don't worry right now. Don't worry about the feet. We'll get there last. Really focus on getting the variations in the face. There are a lot. I can also take my finger and kind of, it's not really a great technique because you're getting oil on your, it's not super archival. But you can take something, you can take a cloth if you want to kind of rub out some of the lead so it gets a little bit lighter. That's kind of a neat impact. Notice when you look at the ear really close that not that much is a 5. Even this dark area, much of it is 4. And that within the 4, there's kind of a 3. From the 4 comes a 3. So there's like a little tiny bit of white. You can actually use your eraser if you lose that white to pull it back out. And then there's this kind of little white area here. So I can go back in with I use my eraser a lot. I am very excited about, eventually I'm going to move you guys to charcoal and you're going to see this is it's a lot, in some ways, I think a lot easier to do these kind of transitions than it is with the pencil.
Yeah, I was just thinking that this would look just beautiful in charcoal.
Yeah, and you're always, those of you who know how to do it, Claudia, you're always welcome to do it in charcoal. You don't have to work with pencil. No requirement. If you like charcoal, I would do all my drawings in charcoal if I could. Notice that, like, I was just playing with my eraser here and seeing that I can kind of create that little ragged edge with my eraser too. If you want to get into the detail of the nose, it's like there's a dark, you can sort of see a dark nostril here. And then there's and over here as well. Well, you can't really see it as much over here. It's more like this whole thing connects as a 3. And this becomes a 4, lighter and darker. We like to call this technique kind of pushing and pulling, right? You're pushing and you're pulling your lights and your darks. You're kind of adjusting all the time. If you want to do the eye here, I'll do a close up to the eyes so you can really see what's happening with the eye. The eyes, there's several value shifts in there that are pretty significant. Okay, so here is where the annoying watermark is going to get in your way. That's number 1. And here is number 2. So if you can see, each eye has kind of a one edge, a dark center, and then within the center is a little white reflected dot. That's like reflected light. Every eye has one. So if I'm doing that, here, I'll come up close so you guys can see me working on that. So if I'm working on that, oh, sorry, that's this eye. So if I'm working this eye, I need to reshape this a little bit. There's like a light edge around the outside. And then in, it's kind of dark. So see how dark I'm making it up here? And then there's this, which I'm using with my eraser, kind of a reflected area. It's lighter. If you're finding that you're not getting the level of dark that you like, you can switch to a B pencil. So if you happen to have a pencil set with B's in it, there we go. That's starting to look a little bit better. B stands for bold or black, or yeah, I'd say bold or black. And the higher the number, so a 2B is like going to be darker than your HB here. Hey, Nina, we'll see you. By the way, how's it going, everybody? Kind of nice. Hi, Diana.
Hey.
So if you've got a 2B, that'll be darker and you can actually achieve a darker line than you can. So sometimes that can be helpful. And as you go up 4B, 6B, 8B, it becomes even darker. There comes a point where the lead almost the lead of an HB, which is what we're using with this yellow pencil, kind of doesn't actually, it's like there's so much more pencil clay in it, you know, the stuff lead, the stuff that makes it's not lead, it's actually this kind of stuff you find in the ground. I looked this up the other day. What's in a pencil?
Graphite.
Yeah, graphite. It's a natural substance like clay or anything else. So the more graphite you have, the different this like the mark making might kind of you might see like your HB marks through your darks, but like definitely darks can help you. And I know we can't really see what's happening over here, so we're just going to probably have to leave that a little bit more, but we can totally see these. This eye has a lot going on, so I have a lot to work with here. It's small space. Notice it's kind of darker around the top. And then there's this kind of dark outline around the bottom, and then it kind of comes down and it gets dark here. And then there's a light edge next to it. Be careful not to get too big. It's easy to get too big with this stuff. So you can see as you start to get into the detail, it's much easier to correct. That's better. So as I'm getting into more, you know, this is like as you start getting into more detail, then I'm able to get more variation in my darks. Is anybody finding this kind of like mesmerizing?
I'm kind of get lost in it, which is nice.
Yeah, it's a good. You're kind of moving, you're probably finding that you're moving from edge to edge as you see them, right? As you see, and when I say edge, I mean the difference, the where a lighter edge meets a darker edge. So as you're going around, you're like, ah, yes. In general, my recommendation is stick with darker, bigger spaces rather than getting too caught up in the little ones. But sometimes you'll find yourself caught up in the little ones, and that's okay. This getting lost. So now all of a sudden it's not boring. Now all of a sudden it's not tedious. It's just mesmerizing. Because you're in a groove, because you put yourself, it's like exercising. There's a point where it feels good.
Yes.
But you're,
They are darn cute though.
also, if you hear anybody making that sound like I just made, that's generally a good sign too. It's like it's almost like we forget to breathe sometimes. I love it. It's like, so see, this is Zoom, anti-Zoom. This is the anti-Zoom Zoom. You might be looking at the Zoom, but you're spending as much time looking at your paper and what your hand is doing, right? This is hand skills. This is like making something by hand. And here we are all companionably together going along. So I want you to notice that this is Zoom. Yes, we're on Zoom, but we're kind of anti-Zooming our Zoom time. We're trying to make our Zoom time more relaxing. There's a reason that Jessica brings us with her whenever she goes out plein air painting, particularly in the cathedral. Because, you know, she likes she likes knowing that we're out there. You know, she likes knowing that we're out there kind of working along with her as she works. she can listen to her pipe organ and, you know, do all of those things. But it's not a disruptive thing, and it's not something that requires all your attention and your energy. Most of your attention is going here to this process of looking at your paper. I'm just reminding you because I was thinking I was getting lost in it myself, and it's nice. I don't want to like muck you all up too much.
Any of you that want to
You're able to see
improve
this.
your Zoom skills, we have a Zoom
I
workshop.
thought it might be helpful for you to see what I'm doing now. More than the source, but if you want to see the source, let me know. I can put that back in there.
You're very heavy.
Watch how I'm moving around.
What was she saying about the Zoom? You cut her off.
Yeah, we have LA Press Club have a Zoom workshop if you want to improve your Zoom skills. We're doing it with Room Rater.
Notice how I'm going back into the dark areas
Oh,
often
she
I'm
and
gonna do it today at
re-darkening.
1.
She
I'm
doesn't
doing
hear.
it. Yeah.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat.
Anyway, I love this.
That's great. We can hear.
And we have half an hour left, so
Leah,
send stuff over if you
No.
want me to see it, or if you're struggling with something.
I'll text her.
Yeah, can you hear us?
No, she can't.
And if you have time, you can get down to these, the little feet, but notice you're going to be trying to do the same thing. This is actually more like shapes, light and dark shapes, than it is trying to actually draw feet. There's like, what? I feel I spend more time drawing, how do I say it? Like the shape between the shapes than I do the actual shapes themselves. I spend a lot more time with like these. Oh, and then I can see this really needs to come up a little bit more. So I can make that shape more. Don't feel like you have to finish this drawing. Number one, the video will be available so you can go back. But number two, what's the rush? I really liked drawing trees, but I gotta say, I think trees were really hard. This is more bringing us back to the basics.
Here.
That's a little bit better. That's better. Anyways, you'll quickly find that working on the feet is not really half as satisfying as working on the face, where you can really get something done.
What do you do?
Oops. I'm finding I'm still making corrections to things like the final shape of the ears based on as I start kind of laying down other areas. I think that's kind of nice. I'm liking using my eraser to create a kind of ragged edge between the light and the darks. And the last thing you can do is use your eraser, not the last thing, but one of the last things you can, once you've got your darks in pretty dark, you can use your eraser to pull out the whiskers or the clumps of whiskers. You might, if you have like a separate eraser, it might work even better. Or you can erase out and then color in. I don't know if you can see how I'm doing this here. Yeah, it's starting to look too big here. If anybody wants help, let me know. But if you don't, that's awesome. Just keep on going.
Can you hear us?
No, she cannot hear us. That's why she thinks we're so concentrated.
Oh, maybe she turned it back on.
Yeah, she turned us off. But she doesn't know she did.
Oh, I think
I'm not on this this thread, so if anyone can text her and tell her. I
Yeah,
texted her
the
on this.
WhatsApp. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I can. Yeah. So, oh, Jessica texted her.
Okay.
As for drawing fur, you don't need to draw every piece of hair. Don't try. But look at areas in the fur where light meets dark or lighter meets a darker area. And try to look at the edge where light meets dark and kind of create that like I'm doing here. And I can use my eraser for that. I can go back in with my pencil if I want to. Notice what direction the fur is going. Up here, it's kind of coming this way. But I notice there's kind of this great little light area here. Sandra, is this how are you feeling right now?
Can you hear me?
No, she can't.
I know she started out feeling not so great. But maybe a little bit better. Starting to come.
That's hilarious.
She doesn't look at the thread either, obviously.
Oh, cool. Oh, Oh, sorry. Can you hear? Wait, say something now.
That's why we've been so silent.
Oh,
hear
I was
us?
wondering about that. I was like, why is everybody being so quiet?
You were just thinking we were enjoying working so much.
Well, I was sure you were working. Yeah, now I'm seeing this whole thing. Sorry. So what happens is my volume is at the bottom of my headphones. So when I take them off sometimes, I will like just accidentally push it. Sorry. I should have known. Sorry, everybody. Anybody have questions while we're working on this? How are you feeling, Sandra, by the way, which is what I was curious about.
Much
Oh,
better.
14 messages. Oh, geez. Oh, Tashween, that's looking great. That's looking great. Great. Oh God, what's wrong with my, oh, sorry, you guys. Well, anyway.
I put in the chat what I wanted to say.
Yes, I see
Maybe
it
you should take that workshop, Leah.
on Zoom. It's not Zoom. It's, yeah, I probably should. Oh, that's hilarious.
It's going to be a fun one. It's with the room raters, you know, that rates people that do Zoom appearances.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Can I go?
Yeah. I
All right,
put
if
the
I can-
link in the chat.
I see
have-
that.
Just register and you'll find it's free for anyone.
Yes. So, Rasha, what happened was you kind of got too high up here, right?
Wait, hold on.
Little
I'm
bit.
going to see where you're pointing to real quick.
Here.
Yeah.
You got a little bit too high up here. So let's see. Let me put this here so you
Yeah,
can.
because mine
see.
look like teddy bears instead of raccoons.
I think this shape is the wrong shape. So I think what happened here, hold on. I'm going to try and show you.
I see.
Yeah. See, you went straight down. Here, wait, I'm going to point here. There.
Okay.
You went straight down and instead it goes out. Right? So somehow in this shape,
Oh.
you lost, and probably you can find that shape back. And I think also your little mask went a little too far down. See, your
Yes.
mask should be the mask on this guy should be lined up with the edge, the bottom edge of this ear. See?
Yeah, and I followed the grid too, so I'm wondering where I got.
Well, there's no grid for this part. You're in the middle of a box.
Right.
So this is what I want you to learn. What you're learning is that it's easy to make things too big or too small. And what you're also just beginning to learn how to do is put things in relation to each other, right? So let me point out for you here on this guy. It's even easier to see. If I put this down here, I see that you kind of got this relationship, right? Wait, here, hold on, let me put this here.
With the two together.
Yeah, you got that one kind of starts here and then the other comes up here. But what you didn't get is the relationship of this.
Yes. Ah, okay. See what
See?
you're saying now.
Yeah. Yep. So here's what happens as you get caught up. And so the reason the grid didn't help you is that you were in the middle of a square here. And so you were still struggling to get things in the right places. Right. So what happens is very easy to get off and getting off. So you're always looking at, okay, if this ear is here, where does this, because these guys are right next to each other. So every part of them that's next to each other has to kind of match with the other parts. So you can fix that by going back in here and getting this shape right.
Would that require moving
It requires moving it requires moving this part.
Oh, the whole thing up.
Erasing this part and starting over again. Yes. Okay. But not the whole thing, just this part.
Just the eyes and the nose.
And then so you're looking at two shapes as you're doing that. You're like, and this is what you're doing. Here, I'm about to mess this up, but you're looking at like this shape, right? So that's an important shape.
Okay.
Is it too high up? Is it too right? You're looking at this shape. See those shapes? It's like thinking like putting a puzzle together.
It's so interesting that you teach it that way. Like, it's so neat. It really just makes you think beyond what you're sketching. So thank
Yes.
you.
Yes. So you just put a word. I love journalists. Journalists like totally know how to put the words on this. And this is your first class, so you're just
I'm a
learning
Reiki
this.
healer too, so I'm drawn to all this stuff.
Great, great. So you're going to find this is the visual spatial logic system is completely different than the verbal conceptual logic system that you're in most of your day. Verbal conceptual. And if you want a description of this, there is a YouTube channel with you should go back and take all the beginning drawing classes. Beginning drawing started in January. Go back and there's videos of all of them. Go take the first class. You're going to learn in January. You will learn a lot about the difference between visual spatial and verbal conceptual. So verbal conceptual is left brain. It's what you're in all the time. It's how you learn language. So it's how you assign a concept to a word. And to assign a concept to a word, you have to have a picture in your head of what the thing is. You have to assign a picture to a word. You have to have a picture in your head so that whatever your word is for this hand, whatever it is, right? You have to know what a hand looks like. You have to have a picture in your head of a hand so that when you say the word hand, right? But here, I'm going to move you back up here. I'll let you guys continue working on I'm going to add a spotlight here. But is my hand bigger or smaller than my head? Bigger or smaller?
Smaller. Well,
what about now? Do you see how you don't know how to answer that question? You're like, wait, what? Wait a minute. Wait. Because already in your head, your quick little head, your verbal conceptual head, you have added the understanding that the hand is smaller than the head, right? You've added that to your brain. So when I move the hand like this, you don't know how to answer that question because you've already added to your concept of the hand. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You've already added your concept to the hand. The hand is smaller than the head. However, in visual spatial logic, which is what the drawing brain is, it does not matter what this is. It does not matter what this is. What matters is where something is, what shape is closer to you, and whether it's farther away. So a hand can be smaller or bigger depending on where it is in space.
Okay.
So can you see how it would be confusing? Yes. So the right brain is not about what a thing is. A right brain is specifically about shapes and darks and lights. That's all it is. And sometimes thinking about what the thing is and about paying attention to all the shapes like a jigsaw puzzle. So in this particular case, the mask is as important as this shape beyond the mask, right?
Yep.
And this is as the relationship between this mask and this ear is as important as like the thing itself. But when you get focused on the thing, particularly if you know what it is, you stop thinking about what's happening going around it. So visual spatial is a constant awareness of all of the pieces around. And so as you can see, and it's hard, right? I mean, it's not impossible. It's totally doable, but it's a completely different skill than the verbal conceptual that you're in all the time. Right. So that's why you had trouble. But I think you did pretty well. And I think I can see you picking up the concepts fast. So the more you practice it, also there's a translation happening when you put a three-dimensional thing on a flat surface. The shapes behave in different ways than you think they should. Just like in a very simple way, I'll draw this in so you can see it. These guys hear me say this all the time, right? So just like the road, right? We all learn how to draw a road when we're kids. We know that this road is actually not rising up off the ground. And we know that this road is not actually smaller here than it is here. We know this road is the same size. But if I want to show a road going back in the distance on a flat surface, I have to make it rise up and get smaller.
Interesting.
Yeah, so everything does that on the paper. So everything is different shapes than you think they are, depending on what you're drawing and what you're looking at. So you kind of have to disengage the whole analytical process of verbal conceptual to get into the process of visual spatial. You will find, I can tell you after 20 years of doing this, that they intersect better now. Like they like eventually you'll get to a point where they kind of intersect in a nice way. But a lot of the, you'll notice, like as I get more into my drawing, my language skills get, I find it harder to describe things because I can't, because I'm like thinking about the shape and I'm having a hard time explaining what it is that I'm doing. It's just a natural, they are different skills. Now, learning this skill will make your verbal conceptual sharper and better. You will notice that you will be able to add to your toolbox a set of things that you were probably aware of and maybe drawing upon, but not really understanding the depth of the information that you're getting. So this is why Zoom exhaustion happens, because when you're sitting with somebody in a room, there's a million visual cues they're giving you that you're picking up. But when you're looking at them on a Zoom screen, you're missing half of them.
Right, right.
So it's exhausting. Like if you're doing an interview or a meeting on Zoom, that's why those meetings are exhausting, right? Because you're trying really hard to try and figure out what's going on and the information. So part of what we pay attention to when we're in a room with somebody is the slant of their shoulders, the little tiny minute changes in their face that indicate different moods. So you're using your visual spatial all the time. And as you start to exercise it, you'll find it gets stronger. I think, can anybody here who's been doing this a while say that they've noticed a difference in the way they observe things since they started learning to draw and paint?
Visual spatial. I'm gonna look this up.
That's how I define it. I'm not sure that's how everybody else would define it, but yes, look it up. Like, look it up. This is my words for it, so I'm not sure exactly if this is like how it's described. What I would say is look at it. It's often called the right brain and the left brain. But yeah, yes, visual spatial. This is what it is. I'm thinking about where things are in space, what's the shape, and how are they in relation to each other? And things change. So often people will tell me the hand is smaller than the head here, just because they prioritize the head because it has the brain in it over the hand. Right? But if the hand is here,
it's larger.
It's way larger. If the hand is here, it's way smaller.
Perception.
Yeah. So it's better not to even think, what is this? What is this? Because you have all these ideas associated with it that will get in the way of your seeing what's actually happening. The visual spatial brain is the side of the brain. I'd like to think of it as less judgmental. Because when you're applying a concept to something, you have ideas about it. Like the head is more important than the hand.
It's the labels that we've assigned to things. That's
right.
What it is, right.
It's importance that we assign to things, which is part of verbal conceptual, right? As we're talking about things, we decide. So visual spatial doesn't care what this is, doesn't care what this is. It's all about where it is. Is it closer or is it farther away? Is it pretty? Is it ugly? You stop thinking about that. You just start thinking, oh, did I get this shape right? Is this dark as it needs to be to show off this white next to it? It's a much less judgmental. So it's a better listening stance in a way. In a way, it kind of improves your observation skills because
you're completely observing. You're coming from that point. I have to tell you though, I'm really bad at this stuff, and I've always just said I'm a stick figure drawer. So this has been so therapeutic for me, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I knew it wasn't going to be perfect today. I was totally okay with that. I just wanted to give myself a new skill set. So thank you for this.
I hope you will keep joining us. We're here every Saturday.
Yes.
And there are classes throughout the week, and you have access to the Zoom. If you, Diana will show you here. Actually, I'll send it over.
Yes, I saved the email. There's an email that I get from LA Press Club. I did save.
Yes. Yes. So if you go to my website, there's a little portal for art at work people.
What's your website?
I'll show you. Here, I'll send that across the thread. Chat here. Hold on.
Thank you.
TheRoamingStudio.com. You want the art at
It's
Work.
in the email as well.
Yay! It's in the
Thank
email as
you.
well.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
And
I'll take a look.
thank you, Diana.
Thank
'cause
you,
You guys
Diana.
are great. And the password is art is fun.
Yeah, it's part of the email.
Although, as we find out, sometimes art is not fun. Sometimes there's frustrations with it, but they're manageable frustrations. They're the frustrations that you find when you learn something new. Well, I'm glad, because I think you will find it's a new obsession that can be quite fun, and you get better and better, like exponentially each time the more time you spend with it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. How's everybody doing? Okay, so anybody want to actually, besides trying to get my attention here? Oh, I see. Great. Olga, nice. Ooh, Osiris, good. Good. Sandra, great. So Sandra, the only thing I will say is that no, wait, is that right? I think that's here. Sorry, I just am looking at it upside. Nope, that's good. It's all good. Sandra, great. Great. You got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, spatial. Yes. Jane, right on. And isn't this enjoyable? I mean, isn't this like, yes, their fingers are a little scary because you know what?
But
Those little bastards can do all kinds of things.
they have prehensile thumbs and they have very long fingers and big
Oh.
nails.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just joined, so but as usual, I just started painting.
Diana always has something going on.
No, I'm painting this one. But
Oh, you're doing this one? Oh, you're painting this one. Cool. I know,
Yeah,
because its animals are like so much fun. Like they're so much
Yeah.
fun.
But I just joined, so
Right. So you're a little bit far. Can you send it along though? Because you go pretty
I'm not
fast.
on the thread. I'm not on the thread.
Oh, let me add you. Here. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm just laughing I'm so sorry. It's like my old lady side just really rears its head. Here, Diana, here you are. Send it over.
Yeah, well,
And wait till you see what Olga just did. It's great.
it's gonna be fun.
Good to see you, Hannah. It's been a while. These classes will never get bigger than 30. I feel like after 30, it gets hard to stay personal. I'd like to keep my eye on all of you and make sure you're all getting like what you need. And I like you to get to know each other. So if we end up getting more demand, more classes will be added, but the classes will cap at 30, because I think that's really like kind of the extent of what see, I'm like totally looking at my art drawing and not at all able to speak. Say what I mean. Here's my little guy. Here, wait, sorry. Let's keep this here. And if you decide to do a class and you need to join the thread, I'm happy to forward the materials that come across the thread if you need them. So just pop me a note now that we are connected on WhatsApp.
Leah, just one quick question. On mine, how you were saying I need to move it up. So I need to erase that whole thing with the eyes and the nose and push it all up.
Yep. And yes, but not the whole thing, right? Like this is probably in pretty good shape. It's more like, look at how these areas line up. Look at where this lines up, right? Think about these shapes and how they line up with everything else. You can see where this dark shape lines up too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
So Leah, one question about painting.
Yes.
I really want to do watercolor.
Yeah, we're getting there. We'll do that in April and May.
Okay.
I thought you said March.
No, April.
Oh.
One more month. This is March. We're in
I'm
March
gonna
now.
struggle again for a month.
We're going to spend one more month doing acrylic painting in the core curriculum classes, which are on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then we go to watercolor painting. So did you have a question, Jane, about, it's a totally different process. So the process of acrylic and oil painting is very different than the process of watercolor painting. So I can answer any questions, but we'll be getting into it. We'll be getting into it later. What question did you have? Oh, I lost Jane. Where is she?
I have a question. Like
Yes.
Leah yesterday, when we were doing these peacocks,
Mm-hmm.
it occurred to me afterwards that I shouldn't have done a different color under painting because I was working in watercolors.
Exactly.
Right? Because then you end up with mud.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't layer in the same way. You can layer. So Jane, sorry, what was the question?
So I think you've answered it, which is, I know I want to start with watercolors, but I don't want to drag the whole class down when I join.
You can't. You will not drag the class down. And
doing acrylics because that's where you learned all the basics. So I just want to start in with what I want.
Okay, though, to let you know, watercolor is harder. So acrylic is easier, watercolor is harder. That's the only thing I will say. There are different processes, but yeah, if what you want to do is watercolor, sure, absolutely do it. But no, it's harder. So, because you can, the acrylic painting is very forgiving. You can, so is oil. You can paint over whatever you don't like as soon as it dries. But if you put a certain amount of dark in watercolor, there's no going back. So just so that you know, be ready. And I will teach a watercolor basics class probably towards the end of March.
That's what I'm desperate for.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, but it's just be aware. I know everybody thinks this is like the thing to do, but damn.
I don't know why.
It's really? You don't know
Well,
why?
no. I mean, if you'd asked me 2 months ago, I would have said I wasn't that interested in it. But now suddenly I'm obsessed.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, Janet, great. Yeah, no, it's I think Sandra, that you're becoming looser and able to see shapes better. And so once you're able to do that, watercolor becomes more interesting. So as you see the bigger lights and dark shapes, it becomes more like you're able to capture in a kind of expressive way, like it in a way that nobody else can. Wait, did I just mute myself?
Teaching me looser for sure.
Yeah. It's teaching you to be looser. So that's the interesting thing about it, is that it really, I think it involves, so Jane, take as much drawing as you can, because drawing is crucial to watercolor.
Okay.
It's crucial to all of them. It really is, but like it's really crucial to watercolor because
you can't wing it as much. Yeah.
You can't wing it as much. Oh,
Claudia. They are.
They really are just don't these make you so happy? Aren't you like so? Don't these make you
They're
so
super
happy?
cute.
They are just
Oh, that
so
looks
cute.
great, Claudia.
Yeah. So any other questions as we're going through? I think I'm going to pull so this recording will be up on the Art at Work channel in about an hour. I'm going to pull the spotlights down because I want to see y'all. And I'd like you to just hold up, if you have video capability, I'd like you to stop where you are and hold up your drawing so we can all just see it from far away. You'll notice. Oh, Jessica, can you hold up your painting so we can see it? Oh, see, Diana, very nice. Excellent.
Yeah, but
Good
it's
job,
literally
girl.
just half an hour. It's literally just half an hour.
Great work. Oh my God, great work, guys. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Oh, look at you, Olga.
I know.
Oh,
I know. Olga's happy because she likes doing little animals, and this is like,
Yeah.
and Olga, I want to say I'm noticing an improvement in your drawing skills. So your drawing is making your painting better. Like your drawing is definitely improving your painting. Also, I like how you're taking layers.
Oh, thank you.
So do you feel like it's happening? Hey, Jessica. Jessica's walking. Here, Jessica, do me a favor. Hold it up one more time so we can see it.
Yeah.
I'm going to spotlight you. Let's see what you're painting. You crack me up.
You have to whip it ready
Whoa.
most.
Wow.
Wow.
She's trying to show us what she's drawing, and now here's the drawing. Oh,
Oh, we saw it for a little. Yeah.
now show us the drawing.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Ah,
The
Jess.
organ. That's a lot of
Yeah,
work.
yeah. I feel like saying she's not really a student. She's just drawing with us. I mean, any more than
Yeah.
we're all students, right? So it's not like I'm teaching her anything, but we are. And in fact, Jessica is going to be teaching a friendly perspective class on March 9th.
Yay.
So you will get information about that. It's going to be about an hour, hour and a half. All of you need it. So like all of you, we'll be talking about what is that transition that happens between 3 dimensions to 2, right? So it'll be at the same time. So there'll be after work. So one will be after work kind of US time. One will be after work Europe, India time. As usual on Tuesday the 9th. We'll send you more details about that, but I think it'll be really helpful in terms of knowing. I cover it a little bit, but in pieces, and quite frankly, she knows it more than I do, the theory of it. So we're going to have a good time. Well, I don't know if we're going to have a good time. Perspective is a mind, you have to get into the mindset.
No, it's
But
fun.
yeah. So everybody, I will remove the spotlight. I'm going to say bye to y'all. Hold on. Rasha, thank you for joining. I hope you'll come back. There's a lot in there. There's a couple of great books that I will send you when I get off the phone. I'll send you off this class. I'll send you
Rabbit.
a list of the books.
Sorry, guys. I thought I was on mute. He's trying to knock down a frame on the wall.
Rabbit, rabbit.
Rabbit. Sandra's 3 Bengals take a lot of definitely make like regular appearances. So what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So anyway, there's a lot coming up in the next few weeks. And next week we're going to do more animals. So another animal. So
Cool.
yay. Send in pictures if you'd like me. I'll pick the best one to do for the
I'll
class.
try to join when you do animals.
Yeah, it's really
Great.
fun. It is really
Yeah.
fun. And we're also painting animals in class this week, in the next month. So it's also quite fun there. All right, you guys, take care. We'll see you soon.
Thanks,
Have a great
Leah.
day.
Bye, guys.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.